Hi, welcome to Spanish Fork 17's high school pregame show. We are week 10. I'm your host, Ken Money, and I'm joined as always by my co-host,
Sam Higginson.
And our in-studio analyst, Sam. Here we are. We're right at the end of the season, last game of regular season play, and we're playing on a Thursday night.
Yeah, you know, Thursday night, one of the things that the Dons made very clear early on was last year we had a play-in game. This year we're going to potentially have a play-in game. If everything shakes out, we're going to get into all that later, but because of that, the Dons played Thursday night. So if there is a play-in game, there's a little bit more preparation time.
Right, tonight's a great night to play. We're good with Thursday night, but it's a little confusing. Last week we played on Wednesday, this week Thursday, and if there is a play-in game, which we'll talk about later, could be next Tuesday.
Yeah, now just to keep in mind, the Maple Mountain game is going to be played on Friday night due to a K-Jazz TV deal that they had from a long time ago, and they have to play that game on Friday night. So for the Dons' sake, it's great because they get less. Those are the other two teams, Salem and Maple Mountain. They get less time to prepare if, in fact, there is a play-in game. The Dons don't have to worry about that.
And again, remind us, Maple Mountain plays who then on Friday night?
They play Salem Hills.
Big game.
Big game. Lot riding on it. We're going to break it all down later in the show.
We've had a great region season. All these games coming down at the last game. We can't ask for much more parity than that.
No.
So we'll break it all down. Like you said, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, let's talk a little bit about this week's games.
Okay.
In Spanish Fork, see your good neighbor State Farm agent Lance Wilson for your insurance and financial needs.
Hi, welcome to Two Jacks Pizza.
For the best pizza you'll ever taste and our world-famous cheese sticks, come to Two Jacks Pizza on Main Street in Spanish Fork or call us for a quick delivery. Are you hungry yet? Need a new car or truck? The Car Guys has the best selection of used vehicles at the best prices in Spanish Fork. The Car Guys know their automobiles to get you the best car for your needs and your budget. The Car Guys at 872 North Main in Spanish Fork. You know Triple T Heating and Cooling, but did you know that Triple T does plumbing? From tankless hot water, soft water, and reverse osmosis drinking water systems, right down to that leaky faucet. Triple T sure does plumbing. Call Triple T at 801-798-7711 today. MVP Sports is the #1 source for sporting goods in Spanish Fork. Football, soccer, all the fall sports, we've got you covered. Check out our new custom t-shirt builder. Design at home and we'll build it for you. MVP Sports, 72 North Main in Spanish Fork.
Hi, welcome back to week 10 of our pregame show. Sam, if people want to watch the games, you know, as always, we have the options. Maybe you can review them with us one more time.
Yeah, I can. Again, there are two games, one being held Thursday night tonight, one being held Friday night. So you're going to have a chance to watch both games. Tonight's game is right here on Channel 17. You can also catch it live on the YouTube channel. If you go to youtube.com/Spanish Fork 17, you can also go to sfcn.org. There's a little button there. You can click on it. Watch the games live. Tomorrow night, of course, the Maple Mountain Salem game is going to be live on K-Jazz at 7 o'clock. So you get a chance to watch both of the games. It's great coverage again this week.
Right, and you can watch the highlights of the Maple Mountain game all week long here on Spanish Fork 17.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about Maple Mountain. Big game, means everything.
Yes, it does mean everything. Let's go back a little bit, though, and talk about the Payson game first, because I think that coming out of that Payson game, you never knew what was going to happen. You don't have Jaron
We thought
Hall.
we knew. We thought
we knew. We did predict it pretty closely. But you don't have Jaron Hall. You never know what's going to happen. You know, that's a huge guy to lose on a team.
Right.
But you're going up against Payson. You gotta hate to be Payson right now, only because you're out there working just as hard as everybody else.
One win all season long against a weak Carbon team.
Yeah, it's just tough. And when you're facing a backup quarterback, you don't have to face a Jaron Hall. It builds a little bit of confidence, and then they come out, and pretty soon they find themselves down. I think 38-0 at one point.
No fun.
Was able to get that garbage touchdown in the end, if you will. But again, great performance on the Maple Mountain side. They brought the defense this week, obviously, and they were able to mix in two new quarterbacks. They started out with Austin Edwards and went to another guy a little later, the third-string guy, who had a pretty good performance. And so we got a lot of help from everybody.
Absolutely, and we had Travis Moore took a minute, and we talked to some of the players about that specific thing about the quarterback change and what it means to the whole team. We had a chance to talk to Harrison Casper, running back junior, and he talked a little bit about changing styles with the different quarterbacks. Let's take a listen to what Harrison had to say.
Well, it's kind of different because Jaron, he throws it deep, got a bigger arm. Tito and Austin's more quick game. So we got to get the ball quick and shorter passes.
And you know, Sam, I mean, really, Maple Mountain's dealing with a lot with Jeremy Hall going to be out with that high ankle sprain. Sounds like a significant injury for sure out this week, and they're just hoping that they get him back for a playoff game, it sounds like.
Yeah, and we also had a chance, Ken, to talk a little bit about, you heard Harrison talk a little bit about the difference between the long ball and the short ball. And what's happening is you're including more guys into the game plan. You have to include more guys. The running back's got to step up. The receivers got to step up because there's going to be a little bit more involvement when you lose a Jaron Hall. We also had a chance to talk to Kobe Smith, a senior running back and defensive back who's played a huge role on this team throughout the course of the entire season. Is going to need to be a big role tonight's game. Tomorrow night's game against Salem Hills. But we had a chance to talk to him a little bit about some of those changes as well. Let's take a look.
Hi, I'm Travis Bourne. I'm back at Maple Mountain, and here we have Colby. And Colby, tell me where you are in school and what position do you play?
I play outside linebacker, and right now I have a 4.0, so things are looking good for me.
All right. So tell me, with the changes in quarterbacks right now, how was your relationship with Jared now with these new quarterbacks? How's things different? What are you guys focusing on?
Well, there's definitely a different feel with the offense, but, we just come together as a team and we fight through them. Things are pretty much back to normal. We'll keep doing what we do.
Perfect. So now this week you're playing Salem Hills. What are you guys going to do to just get rid of them and get into that final position?
We're just going to play hard, beat them, get our way to the playoffs.
Ken, as you hear from both Kobe and Harrison, you can tell that there is a lot more put on some of the other players. And sometimes that's kind of fun. That's kind of neat when all 11 guys, both on offense, defense, and special teams, all have to step up and play their part.
Oh, yeah. Don't you think a lot of times they got caught almost being spectators, just step back and watch Jaron make a big play for him and bail him out at the end of a game. And now it could be any one of those guys can be the hero without really much warning. So, yeah, very interesting. And then we also had a chance to talk to kind of one of their stud players that's injured, Jarrett Boyer. He's a senior offensive linebacker, got a thumb injury.
Still don't know if he's going to be back, right?
He sounds optimistic. Yeah. He's going to talk a little bit about the chances that he'll get to play and how exactly he hurt his thumb. And it's a big blow to Maple Mountain if he cannot go.
Yes, it is.
We'll take a listen to what he had to say.
The second play of the Payson game, I just went to tackle someone. My thumb got pushed back and it just snapped at the joint. But I should be back this week, maybe. I don't know. I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow, so.
It's all right. So tell me, there's been a lot of injuries that's been going on. I mean, how has the team been pulling through and jumping back? I mean, are there a lot of guys that are being put in positions that they've never been in before? Or, kind of tell me the evolution of going on here.
People are stepping up. We have the same level of intensity, and it's not really affecting us that much, but people are just stepping up and doing their job, and we're doing fine.
So with that, stepping up, you're playing Salem Hills right now. Depending on that game next week, kind of getting to that final position, what are you guys focusing on? What's kind of your big push right now?
We're just focusing on doing our assignments, and we have to get this win because if we get this win, we're automatically third place, and so we're treating it like a playoff game. If we lose, we're out. So it's pretty much a playoff game for us.
I'm sure Coach Burnshaw really wants to get Boyer back. I mean, and sometimes depending on the position with that cast, he can probably pad it up a little bit and still have a big impact on this game. And he talks about Salem Hills. This is a big game. This is, there's a rivalry component, there's a playoff component. It's a big deal.
Well, you know what? Injury or not, you have to play the football game, and that's one of the things that we had a chance to talk to Reggie Kovac and one of the coaches, special teams coach and the defensive backfield coach. Talked a little bit about coaching at all three levels, and I think it's important right now when concerning those injuries because you have to be able to go to the next guy. You really do have to be able to ask that guy that may be sitting on the bench and watching as a spectator to step in and play the game. And right now they are focused 100% on Salem Hills. Let's take a look at what he has to say.
So tell me the evolution of this week. You got Salem Hills, you got next week. Kind of a play-by-play of what you hope will happen.
Just Salem Hills, that's our focus, end of story. We're not going to worry about the other stuff, just Salem, Salem, Salem.
So what is it about Salem that I know they're at the top of the region. What do you got to do to get them out of the way?
We got to be physical. They're really, really physical, quick team. Cooper Smith's tough to stop on all three. He's offense, defense, and special teams. And they're special teams, period. They're really crisp at the special teams, so it's something we got to be aware of this week. Any fake, they're just smooth in what they do.
So now there's been a lot of injuries on your team. you know, recent, a couple of weeks ago. There's some players that may not be coming back, you know, for this season. How have you guys been kind of maneuvering people, and more importantly, players that maybe you've put in positions that they've never been in really before, that they've been shining? Like, you know, kind of what's been that like?
That's just the motto of, you hear the cliche all the time in football, next man up, and that's the attitude you have to have. And yes, we've changed some people around, but the same motto, they're still part of the team, just next man up. You may move to your left spot, right spot, or move up from JV, or just next man up, and everybody's got to be ready. That's why we coach all 3 levels with all coaches. So everybody knows the philosophies, terms, and everything, so we're one unit, not individuals.
You know, I love how Coach Kovac addresses the question about the playoffs, and he talks immediately about this is a Salem Hills week. And you know what? Despite the injuries, we are facing Salem Hills, and we've got to go battle. And tomorrow night, they're going to find out how those injuries impacted them and how those, as he said, the next man up stands up to this test.
Well, you're into 9 weeks of football. Everybody's got injuries. Yeah. It's just what teams deal with it the best. So let's take a quick break. When we come back, we've got to talk about tonight's game. We're less than 14 minutes from kickoff. Spanish Fork's big game. So we'll take a quick break, come back, and let's talk about last week's Spanish Fork game and tonight's upcoming game.
In Spanish Fork, see your good neighbor State Farm agent Lance Wilson for your insurance and financial needs.
Hi, welcome to 2 Jacks Pizza.
For the best pizza you'll ever taste and our world-famous cheese sticks, come to 2 Jacks Pizza on Main Street in Spanish Fork, or call us for a quick delivery. Are you hungry yet? Need a new car or truck? The Car Guys has the best selection of used vehicles at the best prices in Spanish Fork. The Car Guys know their automobiles to get you the best car for your needs and your budget. The Car Guys at 872 North Main in Spanish Fork. You know Triple T Heating and Cooling, but did you know that Triple T does plumbing? From tankless hot water, soft water, and reverse osmosis drinking water systems, right down to that leaky faucet. Triple T sure does plumbing. Call Triple T at 801-798-7711 today. MVP Sports is the #1 source for sporting goods in Spanish Fork. Football, soccer, all the fall sports, we've got you covered. Check out our new custom t-shirt builder. Design at home and we'll build it for you. MVP Sports, 72 North Main in Spanish Fork.
Hi, welcome back to Spanish Fork 17, our high school pregame show. Sam, tonight, Spanish Fork, big game, but let's talk a little bit about last week. They played a good team in Wasatch, who has the #2 position in the region, locked up, and it's not a surprise, really. They've come on strong.
They have come on strong. I mean, their special teams, as we all know, they're the best kicker not only in the state, but in the country right now. Coach Coburn up at Wasatch has done a really good job. They're just really well balanced. Special teams, defense, offense, very good job. And as Coach Smith said last week coming into the game, or excuse me, after the game, he said, you know, we just didn't seem to have that same edge. We didn't really have that
on the
edge
defensive
with the
side.
defensive side of the football. And so, you know, I mean, and quite honestly, they not talking about the edge, but they really did give up the edge a few times where they didn't, you know, protect. They got washed down and they weren't keeping containment, and that really seemed to hurt them throughout the game. But
it did.
It was really a pretty tight football game.
I really thought Wasatch was fundamentally very sound. You can tell it's a well-coached team, and it wasn't a fluke that they beat Spanish Fork.
Not
I think
at all.
they probably were the best team on the field that night, and maybe we'll see Wasatch again down the road.
Yeah, and you know, they're a big physical football team, and I would expect them to go up and give anybody fits in the first round of the playoffs. They get a home game, which is exciting for them. They haven't been in the playoffs for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, and their kicker, you know, I just saw he just was named to the Army All-American team, so he's kicking in that game, and he's the real deal, and he'll be at BYU next year.
Yeah, and you know, I will say this about Spanish Fork, Ken. We got our quarterback back for the first time.
Right.
I think this week they've been working on some things where you're going to see both of the quarterbacks in Nate Kiesel and Ringer. You're going to see both of those guys a little bit this week because you got to prepare for, you know, maybe mixing things up and giving the defense, if you do make the first round of the playoffs, a few different looks.
And I thought, you know, it kind of showed a little bit Kiesel, maybe a little rusty. He'd been off for a game and a half, and the first part of the game a little bit rusty, but as the game progressed, I thought he got much sharper and looked like the offense was kind of clicking a little bit better in sync than it was to start the game.
Yeah, you know, for some reason the Dons have been a little bit slow starting on offense, but they do seem to put it together in those second and third quarters. And really what it comes down to is what did they do in the first quarter, what did they give up, and what can they do in the fourth quarter. So we had an opportunity yesterday to talk to Braden Horine, senior linebacker, number 25, Been hobbled a little bit by injury this year.
Tough
Last week
kid,
he
though.
got hit again, but he's a tough
kid.
Let's talk to him a little bit about their strategy going into the Payson week.
Braden, tell us about your last game this past week.
It was tough. We just had a couple missed assignments on defense and just didn't wrap up, didn't tackle good enough, and kept scoring on us. Should have wrapped up and we'd have been fine.
This week we play against Payson. What's your plan for Payson?
Go kick some butt, wrap up, make good tackles, make good plays, do assignments, everything that we can.
Are you looking forward to playoffs?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'll be exciting if we could go for Coach Smith's first year. I think it'd be cool.
It kind of makes me laugh, Braden's, when he breaks down this, tonight's game, what do we need to do? Just kick some butt? I guess it does. I guess it doesn't get any more basic than that, and he's right.
Simplicity is the key for the Dons this week, and I'll tell you what, Coach Zach Stout, who linebacker coach, we had an opportunity to sit down with him and talk a little bit earlier this week as well. Just a former standout at BYU, a really good guy to have on that staff, and he talks a little bit about what the Dons need to do this week to stay focused and how maybe they can get some extra guys in the game. Let's take a look.
I felt like we played a good game. If we could have just made a few more plays here and there, I think we could have won it. Overall, I thought, as we do week in and week out, I thought we tried really hard, which is all we can really ask at the end of the day.
Give us a scorecard on your linebackers this past game and what you've been doing to improve that.
I would give them about 85 to 90. Pretty good. They played pretty well. Little things here and there we got to improve. Just our eyes, little things, tackling, making sure we're wrapping and running, just stuff like that.
What do you do to keep the team on toe for Payson?
I just treat it like every other week, honestly. I just came out here, said this is what we need to work on, this is what we need to do, and they responded well. They were having fun out here and trying and working hard, so I liked it.
Obviously, this is the last week of the season, and we're looking into playoff time.
Yep.
Again, with the opponent like Payson, how do you keep the focus here, and then how do you move forward?
I think what we're working on this practice a lot is just working towards bettering the things that we need to better, like blitzing, coverage stuff, just to get better every day and every week. So not necessarily looking past Payson, because if we give them hope, they can easily win. So we want to beat Payson. We want to do the things that we do well. We want to make sure that we're getting guys in that don't normally get in, don't normally get reps, get them some, and just make sure that we're precise once we hit playoff time.
So you bring up a good point. How are we on health? Are we pretty strong right now, or will this game actually give you some time to rest?
I think we're all pretty healthy. We had a few banged up guys last week, or 2 weeks ago. They came back last week, but for the most part, we're all pretty healthy. But it will be nice to kind of work, the lower guys in a little more if it comes to that. I'm not gonna count Payson out just yet, but if it comes to that.
It's fun to see Coach Stout and that youthful energy, a former standout at BYU, a guy that really brings a lot, was a great player in college and high school, and now he's doing a great job as a coach. And you can just really get the feel that that's a good young staff over there. They're doing some good things over there.
A lot of enthusiasm on the sidelines. Yeah. The kids kind of feed off of that.
They do.
We also had a chance to talk to junior long snapper Juan Cruz, talking about his job as on special teams for Spanish Fork. Let's take a look at that.
Long snapper, to me, that's got to be one of the hardest jobs in a football team, because you don't know for sure where you're throwing the ball. How do you feel about that position?
It's sort of hard. I mean, you have to, if you mess up like one little position on the ball, it's going all over the place. And if you can't, if you don't have the velocity or the direction, you can't play that position. And I don't know, it's really hard for me, I guess.
Is this your first year or second year in this position?
First year.
Over the season, you've then done how many of these type of hikes?
I started halfway through the season doing the long stance for punt, and then for PAT, I started from the beginning of the year.
So are you thinking that next year you might do the same position?
If they want me, if they can't find someone else, then I guess I have to do it, but I like to be on the line and just go kick some butt.
Tell us about a little bit of a game plan that you know of for the Payson game.
We just want to beat them, try to get a playoffs, and get there as fast as we can by beating Payson.
Ken, one of the things about Juan, as he talked about, there is really zero margin for error on the long snap. If it's not there, everybody in the nation's going to be
Everybody
talking
knows.
about it. We saw last week with the Michigan-Notre Dame game, the Michigan State game, there was a bad snap or maybe a missed snap. I don't know, but those things they seem to become very glaring when it comes out like that. But Juan, I talked to Coach Smith on Monday, and he had nothing but great things to say about Juan. He's just doing a great job as a scout team defensive guy, giving fits to the starting offensive line at Spanish
Good for him.
So it's great to see that he's not just a long snapper, but he's a big team player on that team.
We also had a chance to catch up with one of the coaches, the special team coach, Coach Nelthorpe, who didn't start the team with the Dons, but stepped in when there was a need, and he'd been here a couple of years before, and I think you could really see an improvement in all-around special teams play when he came. And he talks a little bit about his role as a coach and the importance of special teams.
We've definitely improved a lot since I got here. I kind of showed up a little bit late in the season, but Juan and James Dahl have made great strides since I've been here. They work hard. We stay after every day. The rest of the team's getting showered up. We're out here working hard and still kind of perfecting our crafts, if you will.
So, what are some of the highlights you might have seen throughout the season with this team?
You know what I'm impressed by is the fact that we've actually continued as a field goal unit to be consistent enough to where we actually earn the respect for the rest of our coaches. Oftentimes, kickers don't have a lot of respect out there on the field, neither do long snappers. And I snapped in college, so I understand how that is. And we were actually 2 of 3 on the year for field goals. Prior to me getting here, we hadn't even attempted one. It took a while, but we are now consistent with our extra points and have continued to make points for the team when we need to.
Kind of like a Charlie Brown reference, the long snapper can be the GOAT of the game sometimes.
To be honest with you, and I about told Juan this, he's our snapper here, and it's kind of an unheralded position. When you're a kicker, you can be the hero, but you can also be the GOAT. When you're the snapper, it's a lose-lose situation. You can't be the hero because, like I always say, if you're doing your job, you shouldn't be getting interviewed because nobody should be noticing. And I've actually been quoted as saying that in an interview when I was in college. I asked the reporter and I told him, I said, you know what, I'm not sure why you're interviewing me because that just means I'm not doing my job. And as I tell Juan, I said, you do the right things and nobody's going to notice, so you take care of your work. James, on the other hand, he has the opportunity to win games and people focus on that. We miss extra points oftentimes, but it's a 3-man thing. It's not just the snapper, it's not just the kicker, it's also the holder as well. And that's what I always stress to them when we're out here is that it takes all 3 of them. If one of them messes up, that whole component crashes, and we're not successful in that. So that's why we stress the importance of doing the small things.
I remember a few weeks ago looking at some stats and found that it was the kickers that are the highest scorers on the team.
We have struggled offensively at times, but we have gotten things together, and I'm glad that we are contributing to that. As a unit. Like I said, we've kind of established that confidence, and I think when we get in those positions, that Coach Smith is not afraid to send out that field goal unit. I'm proud of that because when I first got out here, we were struggling, and like I said, we've worked hard and we've overcome a lot of adversity through injuries and things like that, and we've definitely improved a lot. I got a young group, so I got a couple more years with them, so it'll be exciting to work with them.
Coach Nelthorpe is another one of those young guys that brings a lot of energy to the game. And,
right.
And he made some great comments about, it takes 3 guys to kick a field goal, but it really takes all 11 on that field because there's got to be blockers as well.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
I'll tell you what, he said 2 of 3, and it doesn't sound like a whole lot, but in high school football, that's really big. If you can find those 9 points out there, it's a really big difference in high school football.
Could be the difference
especially in our region.
Yeah, between getting into the playoffs and not. So,
yeah.
Sam, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're only just 3 or 4 minutes away from kickoff here in Spanish Fork, so we'll take a quick break, come back, and wrap things up and get ready for tonight's game.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
In Spanish Fork, see your good neighbor State Farm agent Lance Wilson for your insurance and financial needs.
Hi, welcome to Two Jacks Pizza.
For the best pizza you'll ever taste and our world-famous cheese sticks, come to Two Jacks Pizza on Main Street in Spanish Fork or call us for a quick delivery. Are you hungry yet? Need a new car or truck? The Car Guys has the best selection of used vehicles at the best prices in Spanish Fork. The Car Guys know their automobiles to get you the best car for your needs and your budget. The Car Guys at 872 North Main in Spanish Fork. You know Triple T Heating and Cooling, but did you know that Triple T does plumbing? From tankless hot water, soft water, and reverse osmosis drinking water systems, right down to that leaky faucet. Triple T sure does plumbing. Call Triple T at 801-798-7711 today. MVP Sports is the #1 source for sporting goods in Spanish Fork. Football, soccer, all the fall sports, we've got you covered. Check out our new custom t-shirt builder. Design at home and we'll build it for you. MVP Sports, 72 North Main in Spanish Fork.
back to our high school pregame show. Sam, here we are, week 10. We've been for 9 weeks. We've been previewing these games. We knew it was going to come right down to the last week, and here we are. Tonight's game, Spanish Fork, is huge.
Yeah, you know, Ken, there's a lot of different scenarios. I mean, tonight's game is really huge. And yesterday there was a coin toss that happened between the principals. What happens is you got Maple Mountain, Salem Hills, and Spanish Fork, who are all still in the hunt. So what they do, they get the principals together, and yesterday they flipped a coin to decide who would win that 4 seed and automatically wrap up that 4 seed. Now, there's a few scenarios that need to happen. Spanish Fork would need to win the game tonight, and Maple Mountain and or Salem could win tomorrow night, and it still doesn't really affect Spanish Fork as long as they win tonight. They're automatically the 4 seed if, in fact, they do win tonight. Now, tomorrow night's game is equally important because if Salem Hills wins, there is going to be a play-in game for the 3rd seed, which will happen next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday,
So
right.
there's still a lot of football potentially to be played with Salem Hills and Maple Mountain.
Right.
Spanish Fork is a little bit blessed because if they win tomorrow, they kind of control their destiny. They are the 4 seed. Now, if Spanish Fork loses to Payson tomorrow and Salem Hills wins, now we've got a 3-way tie. Now Spanish Fork is out of the playoffs. And
Can't
Salem
happen.
Hills would
It's
get
not
the
going to
4.
happen.
Maple Mountain, there would be a flip there, and they would decide 3rd and 4th place because they would then be tied as well. So there's a lot of different scenarios. Again, you win, you control your own destiny here at Spanish Fork. Maple Mountain wins, they lock up the 3 seed, and we don't have to worry about a play-in game, which I can guarantee you the coaches, from an injury standpoint, would love to see that happen.
Well, you know, I look at Spanish Fork. I mean, they're a big favorite over Payson, who's won 1 game all season. You know, I kind of draw the parallel to BYU playing an 0-6 Wagner. You want to stay healthy, but you got to stay sharp because big game's still coming. So you're kind of caught in between how hard you go.
You really can't take anything off in this game right now. I know that Coach Stout earlier in the show talked a little bit about maybe having the opportunity to get a few guys in the game, but you really got to get in there and take care of business and get to a position to do that because, again, like you said, you have to stay sharp because next week you're going to be facing an East or a Highland. They're both really good
Really good. Okay, one quick reminder before we close. Remind the people at home if they want to watch tonight's game, how they can do that.
Yes, again, go to youtube.com/SpanishFork17. Get that link out to everybody. You can really help a lot of your family members from anywhere in the world. They can watch this game live right there on our YouTube channel. You can also stay right here on Channel 17 and watch the game tonight live, or you can go to sfcn.org, click on a little button, and there you go, you're watching the game. So get the word out. Let's let everybody know if they're not here or they're somewhere out traveling or living in another state, they can watch this game live.
Right, it's
here.
exciting. Okay, we're ready for kickoff. Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll be back at halftime to talk about the first half, break it down, and get ready for hopefully a second half that's in favor of the Dons.
Exciting football.
Yeah,
Week 10.
Okay, thanks for joining us. We will see you at halftime and then again next week on our pregame show. He's Sam, I'm Ken. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you at halftime.
Hey, we want to give a special thanks and a shout out to our sponsor for the high school pregame show right here on SFCN, to Salem Chevron and Burger King.